morning. Oh, I'm feeling good. I did good yesterday. I am down another pound. That's like 4.5 pounds now. And what day is this? Let's see. This is day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm keeping track, not so much of what I'm eating, but when I'm eating, because I eat every 2 to 3 hours. Last night, I went to bed, I don't know, 9:30 or 10. And I woke up around 12:30 and I was like wide awake. And of course, sooner or later, my thoughts turned to food. So what I did, this was very kind of weird for me. I got up and made a cup of coffee. Now normally I don't have coffee past noon or 1 p.m. because it disrupts my sleep. But I felt like having the taste of a nice cup of coffee with some coconut almond milk and maybe a little bit of skinny syrup in it, felt like that would satisfy me and not make me, be feeling like I wanted food. And sure enough, it took care of that, and I was able to go back to sleep. But anyway, so I could have eaten something. Yeah, I'm on this program, but I have choices, right? Everything I'm putting in my mouth, every activity I'm doing, every way. Thank God most of the things in your life are your choice, I'm very thankful for choice. One thing that my daughter was a co-host last night on this Zoom of a whole bunch of people who were on our plan. And, people who have similar goals to me of trying to get healthier, which so often starts with weight loss. And she reminded me, well, she said this on the Zoom, but it reminded me of a quote that I used to know and I had kind of forgotten about. And I was so glad to be reminded of it. Put it at the top of my Facebook page for today. It said, "I love the sound of my feet walking away from something that no longer serves me." And, it was like when I woke up last night and I wanted food, I was able to walk away from that, figuratively walking away, but literally being able to make the choice to not indulge in food. And why am I talking about this? It's not just about what I'm eating or not eating. That's not the whole deal. So much of it is about restructuring the way I think about this stuff. Because the problem, yes, I feel like my weight, my size is a problem for me, all right? But what is the root cause of the problem? What does that come from? Well, let's take it backwards. So I'm eating too much or things that are not that good for me, that have too many calories. And I'm not eating a balanced diet, a healthy diet. Okay, but why? Why am I doing that? Well, and then, it kind of, because psychologically, like my emotions are so strong, I really want to do that. Well, why am I doing that? And it kind of goes back. I remember when I was a real little kid, my mother sitting, and she liked to do crossword puzzles. Like she'd do the crossword puzzle in the newspaper. And I don't know, do they still even make newspapers? Do daily newspapers still have daily crossword puzzles? I haven't looked at one in a long time. But she would sit there with like a box of chocolate-covered marshmallows or coconut-covered marshmallows, toasted coconut, or sometimes other kinds of candy. And she would do the crossword puzzle and popping these things in her mouth. And it was a very peaceful, I don't know, almost homey, calm thing. Like here was my mother, all, peaceful and obviously doing something she enjoyed, and she was eating candy, and that somehow spoke to my young mind, associating eating sweets with something that's peaceful and calming and enjoyable. Also, I just remember, I don't know if it was every night, I remember it as being every night. We would all have dinner, we'd sit around the dinner table, have dinner. I grew up in an apartment in New York City, so we didn't have a dining room. We ate at a table in the kitchen. And then my brother and I would go off and, I don't know, do whatever. And my parents would have coffee and cake together. Coffee and cake, just saying coffee and cake. Just that little phrase, for me, just evokes good feelings of, peaceful, happy couple, family, hominess. These things make an impression on a kid. And so when we grow up, we have things that are driving us to, like, okay, if I just had coffee and cake every night, and let's say it was a small piece of cake, that would probably be okay. But the problem is that I've grown up and developed these cravings for feeling good by eating the chocolate-covered marshmallows and the coffee and cake and and the sweets, because to me, sweets means hominess and feeling good. Anyway, so one of the things that's so important on the program I'm on is, there's a nutritional, a diet and eating component to it, a food component. That's like maybe 25% of it. But golly, the rest of it is all involved in what habits do I have? Which ones need to be changed? And sometimes in order to change something, you need to know where it came from, right? So that's what I was talking about. When I used to work I had a job at a manufacturing plant, and one of the things that we would do there, if there was a problem with something in the manufacturing process, we would do a root cause analysis. You can actually Google this and it'll, tell you how it's done. I mean, it's so awesome, because what you're doing is you're going, okay, this happened. Why did it happen? Well, why did that happen that led to that? And why did that happen that led to that, that led to that, that led to that? And you're going down, 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 down to the root cause, not just to the problem you saw, but to what caused that problem from the very start. Anyway, let me fix some coffee here. Yeah, I've got wet hair because I just got out of the shower. Okay, so I went ahead and measured 1/4 of a cup of coconut almond milk, because I just wanted to make sure in this size mug what it looked like. Like I told you the other day, I want to keep track of what's going in. Let me just show you this. So, usually I have, here we go. Usually I have this Blue Diamond Almond Breeze almond milk coconut milk blend, but my favorite, and I can't always get it, the store doesn't always have it, is this Silk almond coconut. This is only 35 calories. The other one is 40 calories. I mean, not a big difference, but the taste, there's a different taste. The Silk brand has a sort of thicker, creamier feel in your mouth. It tastes good too. Okay, so when I ordered my coffee this month, they always send samples. They let you choose from several samples. So one of the samples I got is this pretty little capsule of what's called caramel cookie. Oh golly, I probably should have gone ahead and brewed it before I put the milk in. That's okay. I remember that these kinds of blends with flavor in them, by the way, no calories. There's flavor, but there's no calories. Usually these that have cookie in the name, if you have them with milk, it kind of brings out a biscuity, sweet sort of note or whatever it's called. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and make this. And, oh gosh, so I wanted to tell you about something that happened this morning. All right, so this is not what I'm going to tell you. It's something else, but I got Grayson a new collar. See? Now he's a real guy with his buffalo print collar. He used to have this sort of sophisticated blue collar. And now he's got this. Right, Grayson? You look so big and husky, but I tell you what, people, that's mostly just a lot of curled up fur. Grayson, hello. Anyway, so I'm getting dressed this morning, and Grayson sort of perked up, and I looked down. There is this roach. Now, let me tell you, if you live up north, when I grew up in New York City, I did not know that this type of roach existed. You know the saying, like, well, okay, you have German cockroaches in New York City and in a lot of northern places. But down south, where we have a lot of nice warm weather and a lot of wet weather too, oh dear, is this going to overflow? Oh, it's just stopping in time. We grow these gigantic roaches. I mean, like, this thing walked into my bedroom. It was like the kind of roach that bench presses refrigerators. I mean, oh my gosh, it was huge. I mean, the kind, when it walks, it's holding itself up off the floor on these big legs. Anyhow, so thank heavens I was wearing shoes. So I quick stepped on it, but I didn't want to step on it too hard and squish it into the carpet and squish it into my shoe. Oh, I'm sorry if you're having breakfast or something. This may gross somebody out. But it didn't kill it all the way. It was still, kind of moving around. And Grayson went and he slammed his paw down on it. Now, I don't usually cheer anything or anybody on to, kill something, but I was going, get it, Grayson, get it. Hoping that it would encourage him so I wouldn't have to touch the thing again while it was still alive. Anyhow, so, I'm really glad that he was that instinct in dogs, that, like if you're walking along and maybe you see something laying in the road, or like down here we'll see pecans or other kinds of nuts, maybe an acorn if you live up north. If you kick it and it's skittering along, your dog has this instinct to take off after it. Well, that, he goes after, or this bug was big enough that, he had an instinct to go after it. So I was glad. It made me feel a little bit better. How did it get in? Yesterday I did some videoing of birds outside, and I left my sliding glass door open for a few minutes. Probably walked in. Just walked right in. Anyhow, but, I was going to say, yes, do you know the term All-American? Like he's an All-American football player or All-American wrestler. It was like, okay, the scientific name of these roaches is Paraplaneta americana. I think it should be, and that means the American cockroach. This was like the All-American cockroach. I mean, oh dear me. If you're so inclined, you could always Google this, the American cockroach. Different than the German cockroach. German cockroach, small, compact. The American one, bench presses refrigerators. Okay, well, anyway, sorry if I grossed. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it again. I am. Dang. I'm using a metal spoon in a double-walled glass mug. You know, when I put these up in my cabinet, okay, everything feels like it's still holding together. I ought to just drop in a plastic spoon so that when I get the mug out at another time to use it for coffee, it'll already have the plastic spoon and I won't have to remember after I... Okay, so if you had given this to me and didn't tell me what flavor it was supposed to be, I doubt that I would come up with caramel cookie. I don't know what I would come up with. You know, because I read the capsule and it said caramel cookie, I'm thinking, oh, do I detect a little caramel? I don't know. I mean, I think I do, but it's probably just the power of suggestion of having read the name. So anyway, you know what I'm going to do though? It tastes good. Isn't that what's important, that it tastes good? I've got some caramel skinny syrup here. I'm going to measure out, you know, I'm going to measure out a 1/2 ounce here. Because yesterday, when I was making that chai coffee, I think that was yesterday, I went ahead and dumped in 1 ounce, and by golly, it was actually too much. You know, so sometimes it is possible to have too much flavor and too much sweet. Okay, I've made room for it. I'm going to put in the 1/2 ounce. See, now that the syrup does not smell like caramel to me, but it does give a caramel flavor to things. So sometimes you can't go by the smell of these skinny syrups. Truth be told, it's got a little caramel smell. It also, it's a little chemical-y, but okay. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely. Okay, that's good. Well, I'm going to go on now. So I'll leave you with some of those things to think about, whether it's inspirational things like, I love the sound of my feet walking away from something that no longer serves me, or whether it's something alternatively gross or exciting, like the American Cockroach. Anyway, I hope you make good choices today. Thank you so much for, you know, popping on and listening and making comments, and people who are praying for me and just encouraging me and all. It's working. I'll talk to you later.